What's going on, YouTube? Got this 2004 Chevy Silverado with a 5.3 VIN-T four-wheel drive. Came in with a no start, crank no start condition. Customer said he was pulling out of Dirty Ron's. That's McDonald's, in case you don't know. And got out of the parking lot after eating some dirty burgers there, and she died and wouldn't start again. So she came in on the hook, and I'm looking at it. Now, I'm going to tell you what I've got up here is the current ramp on the fuel pump. Because, of course, my first thoughts were, fuel issue, right? Well, I told my service manager, or my service writer, not to put fuel in this thing while I was on lunch, and sure enough, they put fuel in it, because I wanted to show you the crank no start. I should have turned the camera on before lunch, but I didn't. But anyways, you're going to have to take my word on that one. So we've got fuel in it. Let's look at this amp. Let's look at this capture here quick. I want to show you what I got. Now, what I got for a setup out there is, well, I suppose I could show you. Alright, so just the amp clamp hooked to the amp fuse buddy, the 20 amp fuse that feeds our fuel pump relay. I'll show you on the wiring diagram quickly. I had to use these because that's one downside to this tool is the width of it. You can't get by relays at times. So what we're doing is we're checking the current ramp on the fuel pump circuit up here at the box. And of course I've got a jump pack on here because you know how that goes. And then we're hooked into the Schrader valve with a fuel pressure gauge. So anyways, when I commanded the pump on using bidirectional with the tool, I was getting no fuel pressure, of course, but I could hear the pump running. So I knew I had a pump that was running. What I've done here is I zoomed out, but what I want to show you is, so of course I had this setup going on, right? And I went into bidirectional, turned on the pump, or the fuel pump relay rather, and this was my inrush of current, the turn on current, or the amps from the pump turning on. Quite high, actually. Let me zoom in on this. And then, of course, this is the pump, when the fuel pump relay is kicked on, this is the current capture on it. So I know I've got a power and a ground, and I've got some, the relay and everything is working. Now, the amperage is low. We're down at like what, 2, I think. Well, we'll see here. Let me zoom in. All right, so let's get cursor 2 lined up here. And you can see we were pulling like about 17 amps, which it's a 20 amp fuse on that circuit. So let me show you that wiring diagram. All right, so we got a wiring diagram up. Here's our fuel pump sender assembly. Nevertheless, what I want to show you, I'm sorry. Okay, so fuel pump, this has a two set, if this had a secondary tank, this doesn't have a secondary tank. Okay guys, so right here, primary, fuel pump and sender assembly, primary in fuel tank. Fuel pump, you can see here it says fuel pump relay secondary dual tanks. Okay, this doesn't have dual tanks, this is one tank. So this is our fuel pump. You can see that it gets its power feed. Right here is its ground, right? And then this is our sending assembly, all right? Now, I have suspicions that the sending unit in this is bad or faulty. Imagine that. But because the guy was like, well, I know I had 1/8 of a tank in there, and I went under there and tapped on the tank, and it sounds empty, right? Nevertheless, and the gauge was reading that it had fuel in it. And we all know how them sender units fail, but let's keep rolling. So if you look, that fuse buddy I got on right there is a PCMB fuse 20 ampere fuel pump relay, and it's on the load side. So we're basically capturing the fuel pump current up at the box on the loads, on on that side of the relay. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's get back to the waveform. Alright, so what I wanted to do next, of course when I turned the key on and primed this pump, or whatever, commanded it on, I was getting absolutely no fuel pressure on the manual gauge at the Schrader valve. So what I want to do is I want to zoom in here. Let me move this over. Oh, of course. What did I just do here? Hold on. Alright, so we'll go back out, bring this in. We're going to get it right about there, and we're going to zoom in. Let's go all the way with it. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're just going to put cursor 2. We'll put it on this guy. Right about there. Let me hit OK on that. I'm going to bring this up. I notice on these snap-on scopes, if you bring the screen up, you know, you move it like that, you can adjust these cursors a little easier. So we get, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yay, I can count. Right? Now we want to check our delta in milliseconds. Is that right? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? That'd be right. Hold on a second. Alright, so we got her set up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know if it's an 8-segment pump. I think it is. Or 10. It doesn't really matter. 5 milliseconds. It doesn't really matter. You could check it either way, and you're going to get, you know, approximate, pretty close to the same RPM, guys. But I've got 8 segments. What do we got there? 5.8 milliseconds on the delta. So what we need to do is divide. We need to take 60,000 divided by 5.8 and see what that is. Alright, so let's take 60,000 divided by 5.8. I hate this thing on here. And that equals 10,344. So that pump is a spinning, alright? No fuel. Sorry guys, got interrupted again. Anyways, as you can hear, she's running with fuel in it. Now before, we were only pulling about, what were we pulling? We were only pulling about 2 amps. I don't know if I showed you that or not, but I got to get going. Anyways, she's running. I got a new capture here. I don't like the look of this. So, you know, the fact that the fuel pump gauge is reading over a quarter and we put 4 gallons in it, you know, sending unit's probably off. But anyways, let's do a ramp. Let's do a quick RPM measurement on this. You can see these dropouts in here that this pump is, you know, on its way. But you can see that we're pulling well over 8 amps there. So I'm still going to recommend a pump, guys, because the sending unit is off. And I don't want this guy, you know, I'll suggest a pump, I should say. And I'll also let him know that these commutators are going on it. You know, and if he came in with no fuel, how often has he been running it low, you know? This pump's been overheated how many times? But let's get a quick RPM measurement. Alright guys, so those dropouts in there, I counted those. Those are bad segments in the pump, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I gotta bring this cursor back just a little bit. 8, right? And the pump is on its way out. Let me get this lined up. So about 5.11 milliseconds on that. I go to the next one over. What do we got? 6.39. So let me do the math. This pump is spinning awfully fast, about 9,000 RPMs. If you go to the next one over, let me look at I had my cursor set wrong, guys, so I counted over 8 humps, 7.35 millisecond. So you take 60,000 divided by 7. I think it was 83 or whatever's, and we're getting about 8,219. So the pump's running at adequate speed. Pump, I don't like the look of the waveform, so that's something to advise a customer of. But outside of that, it's fixed. It just needed fuel. We'll let the customer know. You know, I'm gonna obviously suggest a pump because of the sending unit issue, but that's about it, guys. I gotta get back to work. Take care. Thanks for watching.